Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're completely dismantling the modern myths of communication and building a pragmatic, 90-day elite training system from the absolute ground up. If you've ever felt like your words just aren't landing with the impact you want, or if you're just totally fed up with vague advice telling you to just be more confident, you are in exactly the right place. We're digging deep into a fascinating source text that acts as the ultimate architect of authority.
So, let's just dive right into it. Does a deep voice automatically equal authority? We really have to challenge what the internet has trained us to believe about sounding powerful. I mean, scroll through social media today and you'll see countless gurus swearing that the secret to commanding a room is just dropping your pitch by an octave. But as our source material reveals, that is a highly dangerous oversimplification. In fact, it can actually do way more harm than good.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll tackle the deep voice myth. Then evaluate some AI frameworks, dig into the true communication core, lay out your 90-day elite stack, and finally, we'll uncover the missing link, storytelling.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the deep voice myth.
There's a really stark contrast between fake depth and true power. When you force a fake low pitch just to sound commanding, three terrible things happen. First, you sound completely artificial because, well, people can hear the performance. Second, you risk actively damaging your vocal cords. And third, you lose your emotional range, making you sound totally monotone. True authority, on the other hand, isn't about pitch at all. It's built on mechanical control. We're talking breath control, pacing, absolute certainty, and crisp articulation. It's about emotional restraint, not just vibrating your chest to sound scary.
To really prove this point, just think about two of the most powerful communicators in modern history, David Attenborough and Winston Churchill. They had radically different voices. Attenborough's voice is light, kind of breathy, and filled with this childlike awe that somehow gets millions of people to sit in absolute silence. Churchill, on the flip side, was famously grumbling, slow, and super resonant. Yet they commanded the exact same elite authority. Why? Because they relied on absolute precision, impeccable timing, and narrative structure. The room goes quiet for both of them, not because of how low their voices are, but because of their total mastery.
Moving right along to Section 2, evaluating AI frameworks.
What's really interesting here is how different AI models handle communication coaching. They each give us a different piece of the puzzle. Claude gives us the absolute best structural framework. Measurable phases, timelines, the whole 9 yards. But it completely falls into the trap of romanticizing that deep authoritative voice we just debunked. ChatGPT, though, it's psychologically much stronger. It knows that weak communication usually comes from weak thinking, so it attacks the root cognitive problems even if it's a bit less systematic. And then there's Gemini. It's technically correct about resonance and muscles, but honestly, it relies way too heavily on generic, safe corporate fluff. So our strategy is pretty clear. Steal Claude's rigorous structure, inject ChatGPT's psychological depth, and totally ignore Gemini's fluff.
That brings us nicely to Section 3, the true communication core.
Here is the absolute reality of the situation. Authority is just a powerful communicator sounding calm because their brain is highly organized. That's it. Communication problems are cognitive way before they are ever vocal. Think about it. A weak thinker with a deep voice still sounds weak eventually. That deep voice might buy them 5 minutes of your attention, but the second those disorganized thoughts spill out and the logic falls apart, poof, their authority completely evaporates.
So instead of obsessing over your pitch, focus on the actual cognitive metrics that matter. Clarity of thought to make your message digestible. Emotional control to keep you steady under pressure so you aren't just rambling. Active listening so you can actually adapt to the room. And deepening your vocabulary so you always have the precise word ready, which totally eliminates filler words. These are the true building blocks. It's all about building confidence through raw competence.
All right, Section 4, the 90-day elite stack.
Here is your daily actionable blueprint, synthesizing the best of those AI insights. Step 1, 10 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing. You're learning to exhale slowly so you never run out of air mid-sentence. Step 2, 10 minutes of resonance drills. Humming, articulation exercises, making sure every single syllable is crisp. Step 3, 15 minutes of reading aloud to train your brain on complex sentences. And finally, Step 4, 10 minutes of recording review. This is the painful part, listening back to catch your filler words and monotone habits. But honestly, this review process is the ultimate forcing function for your growth. Add all that up. That entire daily elite stack takes exactly 45 minutes. That is it.
It's a completely measurable, realistic target, whether you're a total beginner or a seasoned pro. You don't need to lock yourself away for hours. You just need 45 minutes of highly focused, structured practice every single day.
But, there's always a catch. Outside of those 45 minutes, you absolutely must step into what the source text calls the real gym. The real gym is social pressure. You have to speak publicly, get into debates, send unedited voice notes instead of perfectly typed texts. All that solitary practice in your room means nothing if you don't take it into the arena. True skill only solidifies when it's put under the unpredictable heavy weight of social pressure.
And finally, Section 5, the missing link, storytelling. Listen, elite communicators are, without fail, elite storytellers. The AI totally missed this. If you just deliver raw information, humans forget it almost instantly. We just aren't biologically wired to remember raw data or abstract facts. But when you wrap that exact same data in a story, when you use emotion, tension, narrative structure, and vivid imagery, that is what the human brain latches onto. You can have the best breath control in the world, but without a compelling story, you are completely forgettable.
So how do you actually learn this? Well, during that 15-minute read-aloud phase of your daily stack, you need to study the greats. Don't just read random social media posts. Read brilliant documentary narrations. Study classical speeches that literally moved nations. Dive into the incredibly rich tradition of Somali oral storytelling. Analyze tense courtroom rhetoric and sharp historical interviews. By exposing yourself to this massive breadth of expression, your brain naturally absorbs the underlying rhythm of true, elite communication.
Before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one very hard truth directly from the source material. You will probably hate hearing your recorded voice for months. Good. That discomfort is where improvement begins. This right here is the ultimate psychological barrier. Most people do that 10-minute recording review exactly once, totally cringe at themselves, and quit forever. And that is exactly why their voices stay average. You literally have to lean into that discomfort.
So, the blueprint is right in front of you. You know the myths, you understand the cognitive reality of authority, and you have a totally actionable 45-minute daily stack. But the only question that matters right now is this. Are you actually willing to endure the acute discomfort of hearing yourself to build elite authority? Do you have the discipline to push past the cringe and start your 90 days tomorrow? The choice is totally yours. Well, that's all for this explainer. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.